Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Hebraic Awakening. We are going to discuss the levels of sin, right? There are different levels of sin. We will go over the different Hebraic words for sin. So I know we are taught in Christianity that all sin is sin, right? You've heard that a lot. But we know that it is not true because of the sacrifices that our ancestors had to make according to sin. So I don't know if I did a video on Hebraic awakening about this, or did I do that for our fellowship? But I did a whole teaching about how the sacrifices of the Most High shows relationships, and it's based on bringing different sacrifices depending on what was done and what you wanted to get out of the covenant relationship. So as we prepare for the high holy days, we have entered into the 6th month. Please check out my Patreon so that you can learn the prophetic insights into the months, right? We always chase prophetic words, and that's because we do not understand our own Hebraic calendar that has plenty of prophetic messages for us each month. One of the first Hebrew words that I'm going to introduce is chata, all right? This refers to the missing the mark, right? It's like an archer who is stretching, right, the arrow to hit the target, but they miss it. And this is more of an error. You know, you missed the mark. Uh-oh, I made a mistake along the path. Whether you did it intentionally or non-intentionally, you know, begs to differ, because usually this word is assigned to unintentional sin, right? Because you desire knowledge, right? Without really going through the process. So you want to get to the answer without the knowledge. And then you hastily get there, right? You hastily get there and you have uh-oh moments. Um, Proverbs 19:2, desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way? You cannot want to, just eat up all of what you see without really understanding, right? Without really learning how to shema, right? To intelligently understand, to interpret, then to apply it, all right? So sometimes you hastily want to get to where you're going without having all of the knowledge. And sometimes we eat up all of the things that we're learning, and we're not even understanding it to apply it. All right, I'm going to break down this Hebraic word in picture form on our ancient Paleo Hebrew. I'm not going to do this for every word, but I just want to do this for you so that you can start to break down the other words, right, to get the full message. So, kata, the first letter is ket, the picture of a fence, meaning to protect, to divide. Tet, the picture of a basket, meaning to surround. And sometimes it can have the meaning as a snake, right? Because you don't know what's inside of the basket. It could be good or evil. And Aleph, the strong leader, the picture of an ox, meaning strong leader, power. So when we put these Hebraic words together in the opposite, because those are the positive meanings for the word. Now, when we get to the negative meaning of the word, it means the strong one who deceives us, to divide us, to keep us from Yah, and to keep us from his protection. That is what kata means: to miss the mark, to err, to get to a destination and you want to get there fast and you don't have all of the information and you do not know how to apply it. Another level of sin is to rebel, all right? This is willful sin, and I'll put the Hebrew word up there. Ezekiel 2 and 3 means to rebel willfully, to make an error. You're doing it on purpose, so it's not really an error, right? And First Kings 12 and 19 is against man. Now, Sarah, not Sarah, like our matriarch. This word means to stretch out self. All right. So this is a form of rebellion, to stretch out self. So listen to how Isaiah uses. In Isaiah 28 and 20, he uses this verb to show a picture of the rebellious leaders of Judah. He talks about how the bed was too short and they could not stretch out in the bed. They were cramped. So this illustration shows that the sleeper, right, was exposed. So restless insecurity produced by sin. So when you can't stretch out and you are in the bed and you're cramped, you're restless. You can't stretch out. And that's the meaning of this particular word, right? To prolong or a limb that is not in place. It's stretched out too far. It's out of place, it's broken, things of that nature. So, in this term of rebellion, it is talking about self made security, right? Self made security is a form of rebellion because you are relying on yourself and you are very prideful, right? Self made security is what a lot of people think they are doing for this season ahead. And I am for preparing and I am for um, understanding the times and making preparations. Let's say that. But I know that the Most High is going to judge. And it doesn't matter how some of us are prepared if we are operating in rebellion. All right. So some people think that they got their underground bunkers, they got their cabinets stocked, they got enough food for 6 months to a year. They've been prepping for years and they don't understand the Most High can send a storm and have that all flooded. It could burn up in a fire. Right? There are so many ways that self-made security can be destroyed. I'm gonna leave it at that. Right? So we must place our trust in the Most High. Ma'al, treachery, faithlessness. Ezekiel 15 and 8. This is a betrayal of trust. You are supposed to have immunah. We translate it as faith in the English, but that's an abstract word. To trust someone is to believe in who they are and that they will do what they said they would do. So you trust in that person. So when you commit ma'al, treachery, you do not believe, right? You go against that. You betray them. Iniquity, awam, a fault that leads to guilt. All right. Guilt is produced from moral depravity. Right? Moral depravity brings about the guilt, right? So when you do an act that is against the morals of the Most High, there's a guilt that is attached to it. With the guilt has to come a payment or a punishment. And we talked about the sacrifices. So you just can't say, I'm sorry, my bad. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. There is a cost, there is a punishment attached to it. The wages of sin is death. All right. And also, this iniquity, what I want to stress is that this breeds ongoing desires to sin. So that's the thing about iniquity. Not only are you willfully sinning, and this is attached to guilt that must require a payment, you desire to do it over and over again. You desire to continue to do this over and over again. And we'll get to that another level of sin because you think you haven't got caught, you can keep doing it. Rasa, wicked. All right. This offers dysfunctional counseling. So wicked people, they off the chain. They offer evil or dysfunctional counseling. A lot of us women, okay, because I get on the men, but a lot of us women offer dysfunctional counseling, especially when it comes to being submissive. And it has caused a lot of our women and children to be in, let me word this carefully. It causes a lot of our women and children to stay in emotionally and physically abusive relationships. And a lot of these women are dying at the hand of dysfunctional counseling. It is evil counseling. It is wicked. Now, your definition of evil and wicked is from an American or Western perspective. But the most high definition of evil and wicked counsel is it is dysfunctional. Remember, I did a teaching. Water is both functional and dysfunctional. Water brings life, but it also can bring chaos and devastation and flooding and judgment. Water is both functional and dysfunctional. He created both good and evil, function and dysfunction. Okay, so women, you've got to stop giving out dysfunctional advice. If you are not for sure what to say, pray. Pray with that person. But there's too many women and children that are taught to stay in abusive relationships behind wicked women. All right, we ain't even gonna talk about the wicked men, right? I just had to get that off my chest because I'm tired of seeing these little memes and stuff going around. It's really irking me, and I'm trying not to call people out. But one day the Most High gonna give me that green light. All right, what else is wicked? Speaks mischief, which leads to iniquity, and that's what we're talking about. You keep talking about mischief, and it leads not only you but your community to continue in iniquity, right? To continue to transgress the law. Wicked people, they pursue the poor to oppress them. All right. They don't believe that Yah will punish them. And this is the wicked because they continue to do the things and they feel that they haven't got their punishment. But we know that the Most High has a certain time, right? And he gives you space to repent. But when that time runs out for many of the wicked, they get that full punishment, that full judgment, right? Because they thought they could get away with it. And abomination. This word functions as a covenant term. That's why this word Iba is so, or Iba is so important because, you know, in terms it makes the Most High want to throw up, vomit, right? Because of an abomination. So when you do your due diligence and you look at each time that this word is written and in the context of how it is written, you will understand why he wants to throw up, right? So this is a covenantal term. Specific practices are tied to abomination, right? These practices, they jeopardize covenant blessings. This terms this term, it carries a judicial weight that will provoke exile and demand cleansing. Right? So abomination is not just I'm going to give an offering, it is way more to it. It will demand you to exile from the camp and to demand a cleansing. Right? So these are different levels of what we would call sin. Sometimes you err, sometimes you willfully do things on purpose, and sometimes you cross over into iniquity where you don't even care. You just desire to do this thing, and it's going to continue to get done. And there's a guilt there, but you still do it. And then you cross over into abomination where, I don't know, you got to get out of here, right? You got to get out of here. and he demands you to be cleaned. So I hope this helps us to go into the high holy days, right? Specifically Yom Kippur, or what we like to call Yom Kippurim, right? The coverings, and to understand sin in all of its forms, right? And there are different levels to it. So I hope this helps us to keep guard, to keep watch over our behaviors, our emotions, how we think, and how we make decisions as we go into the high holy days. I hope this has helped you. And until the next video, shalom, everyone.